I'm Patty DeCar. I'm the representative from Urban and Economic Development. Our zoning board chairperson is out sick tonight, and we are down one member. So I would like to call this meeting of December 15th to order. I'd like to introduce the people on the video conference. Members of the Zoning Board of Appeals are Joseph Burke, the chairperson who is absent this evening, Ned Smogic, Frank Donato, Wendy Tarver, along with myself, Patty DeCar from Urban and Economic Development. We also have Chief Building Inspector Dan Koza and Assistant Corporation Counsel Kate Hartnett. We will hear each case individually as it appears on the agenda. When your case is called, please step up. Please, sorry about that, reading a different paper. After listening to the applicant's proposal, I will ask for speakers for and against the proposed project. All remarks and any questions are to be addressed to the members of the board only and shall be limited to 2 minutes per person. They will then vote on the project immediately following. In accordance with Section 2-29-64 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Utica, a quorum of the board exists when 3 of the 5 members are present and voting. However, all actions by this minimum quorum will require unanimous approval. Under these circumstances, the applicant will be allotted the opportunity to have the application tabled until such time that it could be heard before more members of the board than the minimum quorum. Our first case, so that is the situation tonight. So if anybody chooses, they can table their application until the next meeting. First case, ZBA case number 48-20, 756 Herkimer Road. Applicant Karen Corrigan Ryder. Pursuant to Section 2-29-67D2 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Utica, the applicant is seeking a use variance in order to reestablish a single-family residential property into a multifamily structure. This case was heard at our November zoning board meeting, and the board asked for additional plans, a parking layout, and plans for a maximum of 3 units for this structure. Is the applicant in attendance?
No, Patty. I don't. I'm John Dweed here from Payview Real Estate. I don't see her on here. Since the last meeting, the building was previously a 5-unit, operating 5-unit. And because it's going to be reduced to a 3, I have a feeling that she's in her contract. She had a contingency that if it wasn't a 5-unit, that she could not, she wouldn't have to continue to purchase the building. I believe that's the way she's going to go. So I guess at this point, we're still hoping to have the unit or have the building as a 5-unit. It's a very large property, very large building. But at this point, I guess we're stuck with a 3-unit, correct?
Well, no, because it hasn't been passed, John. We were looking for a plan, a parking plan, along with a plan for the unit, which we have not received as of yet.
Okay.
So we can't go any further with this application without the plan that was requested.
Right, and they are going to limit it to a 3-unit anyway, correct? Or not 100%? Not 100% that they're going to limit it to a 3-unit?
No, it hasn't been for such.
Okay. I did tell her that, and I don't see the current owner on here either, which I thought they were going to be on here. I guess I have to find out from her if she's going to continue on with the purchase and to further this along. If not, then I guess the next person buying, depending on how they want to use the property, I guess we'll have to table this tonight and come back at it at another time.
John, we can go through the other cases if you'd wish, and if they still wanted to participate this evening, that's up to you. And
okay.
Come back to it.
I appreciate that. I think we should probably let me make a phone call if you want to move on to the next case, and then I won't hold you up anymore. I'll make a couple phone calls.
Okay, that way it's not denied and then, with any confusion.
Okay.
That way we just give her the opportunity, if you want to give her a call. If not, then we'll just close the case, and if somebody else is going to purchase the property, they can come back before the zoning board.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank
All
you.
right, next case, ZBA case number 53-20, 1010 State Street, applicant Richard Panetta. Pursuant to section 2-2967D1 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Utica, the applicant is seeking an area variance in order to subdivide a parcel of the above referenced property. The applicant is proposing to subdivide a parcel which is currently 40 by 107 into two substandard lots, which will measure 40 by 50 and 40 by 57. In accordance with section 2-29-173 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Utica, the minimum lot size for a single-family home in a residential two-family zoning district is 50 feet by 100 feet, or 5,000 square feet. The applicant will be required to receive area variances for the creation of two substandard lots. And I will pull that up just a moment. Bear with me for 1 second. I apologize. Okay. This you will see is the proposed, where he's looking to build a smaller home on the rear, but we're not looking at that today. We're just looking at the subdivision of the two lots. This is a photo of what the lot is. It's between Tiny's restaurant and the house door. So they're looking to split these lots and then have an easement to the rear. That's what the parcels will look like. Richard, do you want to just explain to the board?
Sure. We had already talked to the board in the past about dividing the property, and one of the options to divide the property was that we would take the rear parcel is adjacent to my property on Mandeville Street, and the front parcel is adjacent to the property where Tiny's is. And Joanne Gerace was going to consolidate the front half with her portion, and I would like to use the back portion as a separate lot to build a very small structure, 300 square feet. There is a shared driveway that goes along the north side of the property that's shared with this lot and with 1008 State Street.
So, Richard, that driveway would serve Lot 1, Lot 2, and 1008 State Street?
Yes. Yeah, that was, and I've included, I think you have a copy of it there, the 1922 deed that for the property at 1010, which specifies the location of that shared driveway.
Okay.
So lot 1 would eventually be assembled with the adjacent lot to the right side.
Yeah. And that Joanne Gerace is planning on using that lot for outdoor space for her restaurant.
Okay, and lot 2 you want to keep as a separate standalone parcel, correct?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Just a side note on this, anything that takes place on Lot 1 or Lot 2 will need scenic and historic review and approval first.
Okay. Yeah, my idea for building this structure is that I talked to the city several years ago about building artists' workspace and residence. And so my idea is to build this as kind of a model on this property, 300 square foot. It's basically would be like a standalone studio apartment with some outdoor space.
Do you have utilities back to that piece?
Well, there's utilities for 1010 State Street because there was a house there until recently. So we would be bringing the utilities from State Street.
So you would also need a utility easement going from lot 1 to lot 2?
Yeah.
And a maintenance easement for those utilities?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
And a maintenance easement for those utilities. You'd have to get water, power, and sewer back there.
Yes. Yep. I've already talked to Joanne Gerace about that, and she's amenable to about granting that or however that works. But this was just the next step in doing this.
And you're proposing a driveway perpendicular to the existing right-of-way?
The driveway is already there on the north side. It's 6 feet of it is on 1008 State Street and 4 feet of it is on 1010 State Street. And that's where the shared driveway is specified in the in that 1922 deed.
Okay, but then you'd be proposing a perpendicular driveway to your proposed structure.
Yeah, that you would just use that driveway to access that property.
Okay. I don't see where you have setback for the structure. Let me just look real quick.
We're not reviewing the structure itself tonight. We're
No,
just
just
doing
just a division of the parcels. Okay.
Yep.
The setbacks could be all maintained except for the setback on the east side, which would be close to where the lot is divided.
So, Richard, you'll have to come back before the zoning board area variance for that, because we don't have definite plans for the structure right now.
Yeah, I think we were just deciding on whether we can keep it a separate parcel or not. I think that was the next step.
Yep.
Do you have anything from the proposed purchaser of parcel 1 to show that she would give you easements back for the utilities?
I don't have anything in writing. I don't know what I need to get for that.
Okay, I'm just looking at anything other than verbal, because if she doesn't grant you utility easements, you go too far. Okay. Okay.
Quite honestly, I would like to make this happen, and if it doesn't, for some reason, there somewhere along the line something isn't granted, then I could consolidate it with my property on Mandeville Street and just put a garage there. But this is what I would really prefer to do, if I can work through these steps here.
Okay.
Board, any other questions?
No.
No.
Is there anybody on the call in favor of the proposal?
Yes, Armin Rossi
Okay.
here. But I have a question and maybe a clause to this.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm the owner at 1008 State, and we're more than happy with having the construction go ahead for the home. That sounds fine with us. The only concern we have is that our previous conversations with Mr. Panetta indicated that he's interested in gaining more access to, like you just mentioned, consolidating the backyard with his other property in Mandeville. And then I think that leads to consolidating with his other property, his business on the adjacent street, on the back street. We're we're fine with sharing the driveway with a small single-family home, which was in the proposal, but having it be an access, especially for the business, we're definitely not okay with that because it would be massive increase in traffic on the driveway. So 1 or 2 cars a day is one thing, but sharing it with the business or having it be an access with the garage there is a completely different thing. So our clause would be, we're fine with building a single family home and having it be the access, but consolidating the 2 properties and having this just be an access there, we're not okay with that.
We didn't have any intention of consolidating it with our property on Robert Street, which is where our business is. And the lot is, 1010 State Street is probably 2 feet higher than our property on Mandeville Street. So we wouldn't be able to drive through there in any event. And we would have to be driving through our backyard on Mandeville Street to get to Robert Street, which was never our intention.
Oh, yeah, we just don't want it to become a heavy traffic driveway.
Oh, yeah, no.
Given that it's shared, the garage we're much less excited about. I think the home would, I mean, we're kind of neutral on that because it would look good if it's done well. But 300 square feet, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a home. It sounds like some sort of parking station or something. I don't know. But besides that, what's the idea for the rest of the property in the future? What's the sort of the parking situation? Is that going to turn into a small parking lot or?
No one has any intention of turning it into a parking lot, neither Joanne nor Gerace nor myself.
Okay.
So she's going to use hers for like patio type space for the restaurant. And, we're going to use ours as, well, ideally, this is what we're going to do with it is we're going to build what we're calling the urban cottage, which is a 300 square foot. Basically, it's a freestanding studio apartment.
That sounds cool.
It's similar to what like senior citizens apartments are now, but it would be its own structure instead of being part of a larger building.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we're fine with that, but consolidating the properties and having this be a pass through to the Mandeville property, I think.
Oh, no, it would never be that. It really couldn't be just geographically. It couldn't be because of the height difference, and we wouldn't want that anyway.
Yeah, I know, but you did mention, you said if you hit a snag, then you'd consider consolidating and making it a garage. So
We would make it a garage, but we wouldn't have access through the property. We'd just have access to the property. And again, it would be just a garage for my house. So it wouldn't be like lots of bays or anything. It would just be, I don't know, 2-stall garage that we would use for our house.
Okay.
And we wouldn't be driving through onto the Mandeville Street property.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's only if this doesn't work.
Yeah. Our trepidation, like I said, turning it into a heavy traffic situation with a shared driveway. Other than that, we're completely fine with it.
Either way, that wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Anybody else in favor? Anybody against? Any of the board members like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion approval, please.
Anybody want a second?
Trying, my mute didn't come off. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're all set. You'll have to go through the subdivision process through the engineering department. So you'll want to contact them. We are close to the public, so if you want to just give them a phone call, it's 315-792-0152.
Okay. And should Joanne contact them separately, or how does that work?
Whoever owns the property right now, which would be you, would need to subdivide it.
We don't own it yet. You guys own it now.
And who are you're purchasing it from, the city of Utica?
From URA, Patty. I remember this coming up before.
Okay. Is there going to be 2 separate buyers, or are you purchasing it, subdividing it, and selling it to her?
I don't know. I mean, I think any way that it would work would be fine. I'm not really sure what the process should be.
Okay.
I gotta double check with the
Kathy
board.
Mack.
Yeah.
Kathy Mack from Urban Renewal, and just give her a call tomorrow and see how that's work.
Okay, I'll be happy to do that.
All right, Richard, thank you. Have a nice
Thank-
evening.
Thank you.
Our next case,
I'm sorry.
yep, go ahead.
Um,
Go ahead.
I'm confused. How is there a hearing for zoning variance when if he isn't the owner? How is he appealing for a variance?
He can do it, he's purchasing the property contingent upon zoning board approval.
Yeah, I'm just
So the
wondering.
zoning,
Just perplexing.
yep, so the zoning board has to grant him approval before he'll purchase it.
Okay.
And that's part of the purchase agreement with Urban Renewal.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, Patty, John, do we jump in quick?
Yep.
So I guess can you table this, or are we going to have to wait for the next person? Because I don't believe they're going to go through with the sale.
No, we won't table it because it would be a new applicant. So
Okay,
the
I figured.
next applicant would have to file.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and everybody have a great holiday. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
John, you
John.
too.
Have a great holiday.
Take care.
So just for the record, ZBA case number 48-20, 756 Herkimer Road, applicant Karen Corrigan Ryder, she was seeking a use variance, has withdrawn the application. And if any other purchaser comes before us, the neighbors will be notified again of their intentions if it is not proposed as a single-family home. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay,
Nope.
moving on, ZBA case number 54-20, 2019 Sunset Ave, applicant Yaha Kasim, pursuant to section 2-29605 and 2-2967D1 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Utica, the applicant is seeking a special use permit and an area variance in order to operate a neighborhood convenience store at the above referenced location. Is Mr. Kasim on the call? Okay, can you just explain to the board what it is you're looking to do?
Convenience store, deli. We're going to serve sandwiches and some grocery items.
Okay, and you're proposing 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week?
Yes.
If you want to tell the board, do you own any other convenience stores in the city of Utica?
Yes, I do.
And where are they?
Court Street, Woodland, and 912 Court Street, across street from Family Dollar. We also have a deli in there too.
Was that the only other one?
Yeah, for convenience store, yes.
Do you want to?
Patty, can I explain to the board about the seeker?
Yes.
So, I just want the board to know that there actually needs to be a seeker inquiry to consider this special use permit. I know this board doesn't usually do seeker, but this board is actually going to be doing a lot more seeker inquiries in the future because they are required for special use permits and use variances. We're going to request a short form EAF from the applicant. So since we can't complete seeker tonight, I would just ask the board not to vote on this special use permit, though the board can still hold the public hearing, okay?
Can you ask who is speaking?
This is Kate Hartnett.
Okay. This is Lisa from Taxmaster. We did the application for him.
Yeah.
Lisa, what's your last name?
My last name is Husted, Husted.
Okay, thank you.
And what is this short form that they need now?
They need to do a short form environmental assessment form. You know what? Apologize that, you weren't informed of that before. That I'll take the blame for that. It's just a short environmental assessment form, and it's just required when applicants are applying for special use permits. That's in the general cities law. After the meeting, you can talk to Patty, and she can direct you on how to get that form.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Kasim, do you just want to explain a little bit more about your operations?
No, so it's not going to be completed today, right?
It's going to be tabled.
It was a travel agency.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. Mr. Kasim?
This was, I'll speak
Building
on
right
his
here?
behalf.
Yeah. Can you hear me or no?
Yep.
Yeah, I have no questions.
Do you want to explain about the business that you're proposing or no?
No.
I can explain.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. It was formerly a travel agency. He wants to put in a sandwich shop convenience store. He currently owns a grocery store, convenience store, and a cellular store, wireless store. He's a terrific client, and hopefully I understand we've got to do a short form, but I'd like to see this moved. We've been at it for a couple months now and didn't know about the short form.
The application only came in last month for this meeting. It wasn't delayed.
No, I understand that,
Okay.
but we didn't do it with the other form.
Is there anybody online in support of the application?
Yeah.
Anybody against?
This is Steve
As a
Rivero.
resident, I don't know that I'm for it. Okay.
It's Steve Rivero. I own the property at 2000 Sunset Ave. I'm opposed to the variance.
Hold on one second. Somebody's coming in all broken up. Can I ask that everybody who is not speaking at the moment, please mute their telephones? Okay, Mr. Rivero, if you want to restate that for me, please.
It's Steven Rivero. I own the property at 2000 Sunset Ave. I'm opposed to the variance. And I had questions, and I don't know if this is the correct time to ask them, but I'll wait.
This is Dan.
No, you can go ahead.
I own the property at 323 Sunset Ave. I am opposed to the project.
Hold on, Mr. Maheen. We're still speaking with Stephen Rivero.
Okay.
Stephen, if you just wanted to ask your questions and state why you're opposed to it, please. Mr. Rivero? You're coming in all broken up. I don't know if you can hear me. Can anybody else hear me?
I can, Patty.
Okay.
Can hear you, Pat.
Mr. Rivero, you're coming in all broken up. You may want to get off the call and call back in. And all right, Mr. Maheen, if you wanted to go ahead, that would be great.
Yes, this is Dan Meehan at 2023 Sunset Ave, and I'm opposed to the project.
2023?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a little difficult here. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm opposed to the project. I don't believe it's in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, and I believe there are adequate number of venues nearby for both food and fast food and shopping, such as Fast Track, the Price Chopper, the Walgreens, and the Rite Aid.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Kingsley. I'm also a neighbor, 2020.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Kevin Kingsley. I'm the neighbor at Kingsley's Automotive at 2017 Sunset Ave. And I'm also against it because he claims that there's parking across the street, but it's really only a two-way lane road, and parking across the street would make it very congested there. And being open at 11 until 11 o'clock at night, concerned about the traffic that bring in at night. Residential neighborhood. Past, we've had trailers broken into in the back of my property, and enclosed trailers broken into. So just try to keep down traffic as much as possible. And he also claims there's he stated Florida parking across the front. The front is really not that wide, so we don't believe it can hold up to 4 to 5 cars across the front of it. That's all I have, really.
Okay, thank you.
Patty, this is Celeste.
Celeste.
I've been texting with Steve Rufero, and I would just like to read his text. So
Perfect.
he is opposed. I'm speaking on behalf of Steve Rufero. He is opposed. He's also concerned about, just like Mr. Kingsley is, about the number of parking spaces. The building is only 21 feet wide, and it has a 0 lot line. So the building occupies the entire frontage there. So it's not clear that there are 4 or 5 parking spaces. And Mr. Rufero would also like to know whether the applicant is proposing alcohol sales. So all of that was on behalf of Steve Rufero. I would also like to be in the speak myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if anybody can hear me now, but I recalled in. It's Steve Rufero.
Yes,
Thank you,
much
Celeste.
better.
Thank you. And thank you, Celeste, for posting my questions, my oppositions.
Welcome, Mr. Rufero. You're welcome.
So, if I can have Mr. Kasim or Lisa address that. They're stating that the building is 21 feet wide and it has 0 lot lines. From this, it's showing that the lot lines, you have additional space.
Hi, this is Phil Husted, who did the drawings for Mr. Kasim. A survey wasn't performed, but the highway right-of-way or the front lot line kind of goes in the half area of those parking spaces. And we do propose 4 spaces along the front and one along the side for an employee parking. There will be the sidewalk, actually, there's room for parking between the building and the sidewalk.
This is Steve Rafaro again. Are they proposing 4 spaces in front of the building between the sidewalk and the front of the building?
That's correct.
Wait, so I would assume that what is a regulatory size of a parking space? 8 feet?
8, and then there's room for handicap parking right in front of the door, 10 or 11 foot wide parking spot.
That building, even if it's 24 feet wide, how do you propose 4 or 5 spaces? You don't even have enough to configure the correct depth and length needed for a parking space.
A parking space will have to be 9 by 18.
9 feet.
Right, so if that building is 21 feet, how do you propose 4 spaces? That would have to be 36 feet.
Well, the building's 23 foot wide. The lot is 35 foot wide. And there's 21 feet from the front of the building to the sidewalk.
Thanks for that.
Hey, Patty, if I could interject.
Allowed to park in front of the building, Patty?
I'm sorry, what?
My question is, are you allowed to park in front of a building? As they're
No,
proposing.
You're not supposed to be parking in the front of the building. However, if it is grandfathered that they had been using this area for parking and there hasn't been an interruption of 6 months or more, then they can continue using it as such.
Well, there's
Okay.
hasn't been used.
So, this is Steve Rafaro.
Yes, hello.
Okay,
If I could
how would they-
address the board.
Who's this?
This is Adam Howe. I own 2021 Sunset Ave, which is directly next to the property. In regards to the parking situation, first of all, I'm all for redevelopment, and I applaud as a business owner in the city that someone is taking this and it's not vacant. I do echo all the concerns that have already been spoken. But in regards to the parking, one thing that I notice is when snow comes, there's snowbanks and it actually restricts the parking in the front. And the one concern I have with parking, I have 2-unit residential, and my tenants, when they go to work, when the travel agency was there, customers would park in front of my lot, which wasn't a problem because they were gone at 4 when they closed down. Being that this is open till 11 o'clock, my concern is, there's continual customers parking in those spots, which now my tenants have to park on the street or somewhere else. Additionally, as Mr. Kingsley said, there is on-street parking on the west side of the street. However, during the day, Sunset is a very busy street, and if there is a car on that one side, it restricts traffic, and also that's used for ambulances to get to St. E's. So it's a pretty busy stretch right there that can get pretty narrow if there's cars parked and people crossing the street right there. So again, with the snow, that does decrease the parking spaces. And that space across the street is also difficult to consider parking.
Thank
This
you.
is Melissa Camp. A couple questions. I'm just a resident of the neighborhood that would be helpful.
Hold on 1 second. Can you restate your name for me? I apologize.
No, my fault. Melissa Cammon. I'm a resident in the area, and I have some questions before we start talking about parking and everything.
And what's your address, Melissa?
12 Carlisle Ave.
Okay, 12?
12 Carlisle. So this would back up close, very close to my back lot, which runs.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You can state your case.
Okay. I wanted to know if Mr. Kasim is currently the owner of the property in question.
He is listed as the owner, yes.
So the apartment and the travel agency is currently, he owns those.
He Mr. Kasim is listed as the owner of 2019 Sunset Ave.
Okay. Irregardless of that, I just was wondering if he could express to us why he felt that there was a need for a store like this in the area. It has it to me, and living in the area, there's a variety of convenience stores, grocery stores, things like that that are for your convenience. This is a convenience store. Why would this not be in addition to the neighborhood?
Yeah, I know the area for a long time. I know that in the area where they serve kind of food that we're gonna do, like chicken over rice, gyros, cold sandwiches, Philly cheesesteaks.
I think those are lovely ideas. There's just a lot of other places that do that currently. So I just was wondering if we're thinking about like the need of the area and it becoming more retail than residential for those of us that own homes, why we would find this to be a great addition. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were.
There's no convenience stores around that area.
Yeah,
Or
there's Fast Track's like a block and a half away. I mean, they do all that. Plus there's a pizza place that does subs. There's a Greek place that does gyros. If I'm looking at my neighborhood going more retail, I would definitely want to see a huge need for that. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on why you thought it was needful.
Yeah, I don't see the neighborhood have what I have, like the kind of food we serve, or like Fast Track. They don't have what we're gonna do as the same food we got.
Then why not open a restaurant as opposed to a convenience store?
Yeah. We more than take out food. These days with COVID, a restaurant even can't even operate. So the convenience store is more stuff we can sell and survive in the area.
What's your plan to secure the back end of your property from those of us that back up to that area? What is your thought? I mean, that is something that's concerning to me. Are you planning fencing? Are you planning security? Right now, permits are hard.
I don't understand for what.
The back end of your property, which would be now a retail location, which would be, not the same as a home, and it could be attractive to people interested in, I don't know, not always savory things. So what is your plan to secure the back end of your property to the residential area that backs up directly to it?
It's not a home before. It used to be a travel agency, and right next door you have two different businesses.
But a travel agency is different than a convenience store. The traffic is far less, and you're talking about being open till 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I wasn't a home, so that's why I don't know. It's two different things. You said it was a home, so it's not a home. It used to be a business before.
But it's a different type of business. So I'm just
Different type of business. Yeah, I understand.
But it's important for the residents.
It's still a commercial. It's still a business. It's not like it's not. I'm turning like a home into a commercial store. It's a commercial space where commercial already, with both sides already have commercials, where people come in and get off already.
The answer to the question is you don't have
Okay,
security.
Hold on. Mr. Kasim, you don't have any intentions of putting up a fence then, correct?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
I'm thinking about a fence.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Patty, it's Steve Farrell. When there's an opportunity, I had another question. I don't want to be rude and
Okay,
jump
just
in.
a moment. So, Melissa, are you all set? Melissa? Ms. Command?
I think she's all set.
Yeah,
She's
I'm sorry.
giving a thumbs up.
I turned my microphone.
Okay, I didn't see her. I apologize. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Rufero.
There are two questions I had. The first being, do they plan on applying for a beer or alcohol license? And secondly, how could they prove that their 6 month hasn't lapsed since the building was in use? Because I drive by there and I haven't seen anyone using that building for a long period of time.
Mr. Kasim, do you plan on selling lotto, tobacco, and alcohol at your store?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the question of the lack of 6 months of use and they lose their grandfather variance on the front parking? How do they plan on proving that?
Mr. Kasim, how long have you owned this property?
About 3 months.
Long?
About 3 months.
3 months? Have you had a business in there in the past 3 months?
No.
What about the prior owner? How long has it been since a business has been in operation there?
I'm not sure.
So we would have to get a letter from the previous owner stating that they had a business at that time, Mr. Farrell.
We would have to provide that, or he would have to provide that?
He would have to provide that.
Okay, thank you. You cut out for a moment.
Yep, not a problem. Anybody else want to speak against the project?
Celeste Friend, I'd like to.
Go ahead, Celeste.
Hi, everyone. So Celeste Friend, Councilwoman from South Utica. I spent quite a few hours yesterday canvassing in this neighborhood, talking to a number of neighbors. And so I've communicated now with 8 immediate neighbors, all of whom, every single one of whom is against this variance, most of which for the very reasons that Melissa very well articulated. There is no need for this in this neighborhood. We have a Price Chopper, we have a Fast Track, we have a Walgreens, we have Stathis Restaurant, we have an Arby's, we have Chinese takeout. There's lots of convenience stores in the immediate neighborhood. There's just no necessity for this. It's also inconsistent with the character of the development at the moment. All of the businesses that exist and have existed in that little strip on Sunset are all 9 to 5 businesses. And here what's being proposed is an early in the morning until late at night business. So it's quite inconsistent with the character of that retail area of Sunset. After hours, that is actually a very quiet residential neighborhood. And I think that a convenience store open in the evening would be very disruptive to that neighborhood. I also, I think that Mr. Ruffero is right about the parking. It's very clear that there is not adequate parking directly in front of that building, given the rules about how large parking spaces have to be. So there are some other people still on the line who I know were on at least earlier, but I just want to very quickly say that Robert Nelson, who lives on Carlisle, is opposed to this. Alex Sen, who lives across the street on Sunset, is opposed to this. Dan Meehan, who you've heard from down the street at the insurance company, is opposed to this. Tyson Krieger on Carlisle is opposed to this. Melissa Kamen on Carlisle is opposed to this. Jesse Conham on Sunset is opposed to this. Mrs. Velasco, who lives across the street, is opposed to this, and Kevin Kingsley, who owns the auto repair shop directly next door. All of those people are opposed, both other business owners, but also people who live there. Convenience stores are disruptive. They're noisy. They bring in a lot of traffic. They create a lot of traffic coming and going, a lot of parking problems. They also create a lot of litter, etc. So on behalf of all of those of my constituents, I am very firmly opposed to this project. And I do believe, Patty, that there might be some of those people I just referenced still on the call who haven't spoken up yet. So I will mute myself. Thank you.
Thanks, Celeste. Anybody else care to speak against the proposed project?
This is Tyson Krieger at 8 Carlisle Avenue. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I also do want to speak out in opposition to this. I absolutely love our South Utica neighborhood. It is a quiet neighborhood, and there is no need for a convenience store right down there. I really just am echoing what everybody else has already spoken about. In the wintertime when we have snow, there is not parking on Sunset. That is also a very, very busy area. The traffic light with Arnold and Sunset often gets backed up during shift changes at St. E's and other times of the day, and I can't even imagine it getting how much more backed up it would be with people trying to pull in and out of a convenience store. So I just want to say that I am also opposed to it as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Can I add something? This is Celeste Friend again. I just want to say that somebody did just do a little research, and that business, the travel agency, has been closed for a year. So there is no grandfather clause in terms of being able to park in front of that business. So they can't park in front of that business. So that's just simply not an option. We don't allow parking in front of buildings. Thank you.
Anybody else have any concerns they want to address?
Yes, this is Jesse Conheim. I live at 2015 Sunset Ave.
I'm sorry. Your address again?
2015 Sunset.
Thank you. Go ahead.
We're also opposed to the convenience store. There doesn't seem to be a need for it. There's Walgreens, Rite Aid, Fast Track, the places, everything else that Celeste has mentioned within a block to a 2-block radius. This is a family neighborhood. We just don't see a need for a convenience store.
Thank you. Anybody further want to speak? Board, do you have any comments or questions?
No, can we vote on this now or no?
Are we tabling for the seeker, or do you want us to vote on this now?
Kate?
So
They're gonna vote on it?
the board generally would perform a seeker before making a decision, but if the board has considered the factors that apply to a special use permit and has decided that this cannot operate in the neighborhood in such a way as to preserve the health and safety of the neighborhood, then the board could vote if they're voting to deny tonight.
Go ahead, make the motion. Well, my thing is I don't want to hold this whole thing up another month and then go through this all over again for another half hour, 40 minutes, whatever it takes, and get all these people here again, just because of some paperwork error, the secret thing. So I'd be ready to make a motion on it.
Kate, is that okay to do that?
If they're voting to deny, or if that's the motion that comes, unfortunately, yes, they could make that motion.
My motion is to deny
just
based on it does not fit with the character of the neighborhood and the health and safety of the neighborhood.
I'll second that.
Not second. I'll third it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Kasim, your application has been denied.
Okay.
Next case, case number
50.
55-20, 1320 Rucker Street. Stoyan, pursuant to 2-7D1 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Utica, the applicant is seeking an area variance in order to install a fence to the above referenced property. Is where he is proposing. This is Rucker Street here. He has an existing fence, as you'll see from this photo, a white vinyl fence. He's just looking to extend those panels straight out towards the sidewalk. This is what it will look like after. Mr. Stoy, are you there? Yes? Hello? Is the applicant present? Is the applicant present? All right, board.
Since the applicant's not here, do we want to table this?
It's up to you guys. I'm going to ask for and against, and then you can decide from there. Is there anybody in favor of this application? Is there anybody against? So I don't believe that there's any representation on behalf of the applicant or any speakers for or against. Due to the complexity of, getting on with the WebEx and so forth, some people may have difficulties. It's up to you, board, if you want to review this and approve or deny, or you choose to table it. It looks like a simple application, but that's up to you guys. Any comments?
Patty, I have a concern with that going all the way to the sidewalk as I'm looking at, that butts the neighbor's driveway. So I think it would best off to maybe table it, possibly to hear from them, why it's needed and so on.
Well, here was reasoning behind it. Maybe he has some reasoning that he really wants it.
Right.
I'd offer tabling it also.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second it.
Dave?
Question.
Thank you.
Good thing you're open.
Okay.
Are we the only ones left?
Adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned. All right. See you guys later.
There's one caller still left in. Is
Bye. Have a great holiday.
Have a great Christmas.
Merry
Great
Christmas,
holidays.
everybody.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Yep.
All right, you too.
Good job, Patty.
I'll be with you.